hosted by the IABC Africa and presented by Canva International. I'm Elsa Bikutzea of the IABC. I'm going to be hosting the webinar today. So we've got a brilliant session. You all know that it's focusing on Canva's latest tools and features. And there's just no way that we're not going to leave this session informed and inspired. But before we get started, let's quickly jump through a few housekeeping rules. So our technical producer, Natalie of the IABC, has muted cameras and microphones to make sure that background noises are reduced and to prevent distractions. But please post your questions in the chat box at any time during the session. We will probably have a quick mid-session Q&A, but Jack and our presenters will tell you more about that. And then we'll finish off the webinar with a proper Q&A session. If you have any technical difficulties, you could maybe just pop them in the chat to let Natalie know, and she'll be happy to assist you if it's something that she can assist you with. Remember, we can't do anything about your signal. Okay, and then as a special treat today, we're going to be giving a giveaway. You are going to be receiving an activity workbook to help you get hands-on with Canva's new tools. So look out for it in your email during the course of the week. Hopefully we'll be able to send it to you today. And now the time has come. I'm extremely excited to introduce our presenters from Canva. The first presenter is Jack Delaney. Jack is a seasoned content strategist, and he's got extensive experience in storytelling and design. His forte is to help brands connect with their audiences in meaningful ways. And Jack is also the brand new dad of a 4-week-old baby, if I'm right, Jack. So welcome, Jack. And then our second presenter is Michaela Griffith, also based in Australia. Michaela is a creative content strategist. She specializes in turning complex ideas into engaging visual and written communication. Exactly what all of us are aspiring to do, and do brilliantly after today's webinar. So Michaela and Jack's going to guide us through Canva's latest updates and tell us about the new features and also some exciting AI-driven tools. So without much further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Jack. Jack will share his screen with us and will take us through his part of the presentation. And directly after, he's going to hand over to Michaela. Right, Jack, we are very curious to hear what you have to share with us today.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that warm welcome. I don't know if I could top that. That might be the peak of the webinar here today. But I'll share my screen. And now, if you see the wrong thing on screen or it doesn't follow me, just let me know. These things always happen, no matter whether you work for a big tech company or a tiny company. Zoom happens to always stuff up. So just let us know if you're seeing the wrong thing or it doesn't sound like I'm talking to the right slide or anything like that. But yeah, thank you so much for the warm welcome.
Yeah, so nice to meet you all. We really appreciate you all taking the time to chat with us today and learn a few new things. So yeah, really appreciate it. And as a heads up, my internet has been shocking today. So if I do freeze, please just all yell freeze in the chat and I'll know, and then I'll be able to turn my video off. So at least you're not staring up my nose. But yeah, super excited to run through some new updates to Canva today.
Awesome. So as we've sort of already covered, I'm Jack, that's Michaela, and we're both content strategists and design educators at Canva.
All right, awesome. So a big part of what we do is, showing people what's new in Canva. We've got some really great updates today, especially around AI.
Yeah, so we don't have a crazy agenda to go through, but a few things we will discuss are new features, feature updates, and a bunch of tools that you can use externally and internally within your team.
But first, just so we kind of know who's in the room and get an idea of everyone's experience with Canva, maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident would you say you are with using Canva? Maybe 1 being you've never used Canva before, and 10 being you're a total pro, you know the features, you could probably run this webinar. You can just throw your answers in the chat. Okay, we're getting a 5, 6, 7, 6, 2, 1. A shameful 1. That's okay. I was a 1 like not that long ago, so no. That's awesome. Oh, -1. Good. Okay, 7. It's a massive range. Okay, that's really good. I think that's maybe the best kind of range we've had so far, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
As
I
yeah.
sorry, I was just gonna say I think that you'll find value whether you're a -1 or a 7 or maybe you're a 10 and you should be running this yourself. I think there's something for everyone in here.
For sure.
But now, another question before we get into it is that does anyone know what Canva's glow up is? Has anyone heard of that term? Chuck your answers in the chat because we want to know if you've heard of that before.
Yes, no, yes, yes, no. Seems pretty even. There's a long no.
All right, great.
Okay.
So, sounds like some people know what's going on, and some people might be wondering what on earth we're talking about. So, Michaela, do you mind telling us so we're all on the same page? What is the glow up?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I saw in the chat, some of you may have noticed a new look and feel to Canva, and it's kind of, user interface. This is called the Glow Up, which is what we've been calling it in Canva HQ. It's
Yeah,
really like a
and
new look and feel. Yeah.
you'll mainly notice it in the homepage and in the editor. So they're the two main places. And some things don't, some accounts don't have access to the glow up yet. So don't worry, it's being rolled out very soon over the next month or so. And everything else we'll show in today's webinar is available across all accounts. So we're all able to access that right now.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Thank you. I think we can also show a kind of before and after view, which is super, super nice to see. So yeah, basically it's easier to stay organized. There's a few little changes to the homepage and navigation. And the main difference is that you'll have a lot more room to design. So really focusing on the actual design experience, which has been really great.
Yeah, for sure. Plus a few new features and a few updates to old ones, which we'll get to now.
Yeah, let's do it. So I think the first thing we want to show you all isn't necessarily like a brand new thing, but it's really important to kind of build on everything we are going to show you today, which is the brand kits.
Yeah, so if you're working with a brand, which it sounds like a bunch of people here do, brand kits help bring everything together in one easily accessible place. So you can access your brand fonts, your logos, your colors, icons, imagery, graphics, and pre-designed brand templates all within the Canva editor without having to switch tabs or apps or go anywhere else.
I've kind of just popped a link in the chat so you can all explore it as well. But yeah, brand kits are really helpful in establishing brand consistency for your collateral across every touch point without having to, kind of go in and edit everything separately. All of a sudden, you've got everything in one place, which is super handy no matter what you're designing.
Yeah, and it might be easier just to show you in a demo. Fancy that. So let's jump over and I'll slide over my screen and we'll have a look. So we should be able to see, can we just confirm, Michaela, we're seeing our brand templates right now, yes?
I can still just see the brand kit slide. How is everyone else? What they seeing?
Oh, you know what? Let me just make sure that my sharing is
Oh,
right
yeah,
so we
now
get
I
the
can
right.
see my face really big.
There we go. All right, cool. That's on, we're on the right screen now.
Amazing.
Yes.
It's dark for me. Can people put in the chat? You can see it? Okay, yep, nice. Oh, yep, there it is. It's there for me too.
All right, beautiful. Excellent. Thanks, guys. We can't rely on Michaela's internet. She's probably like
My
5 minutes
internet's
behind
not
us.
trustworthy.
Cool. All right. So, brand kits. So, as you can see, I'm in the Canva backend here. This is an account we use for webinars like this, our design school team, so we can jump in and show off, obviously, all the cool features. So, if we click in brand kits, which is located in this little brand tab over here, we'll see we've got some preset sort of dummy accounts that we set up, and these are all different brand kits that we've built out to be able to show off sort of, the way that it works. And the great thing about brand kits, so as we've discussed, it's, it allows you to have all your brand assets in one collection and be able to access it at any time and apply it across presentations, docs, any Canva designs with literally one click, which is pretty awesome. And the great thing about brand kits is you can actually have, like, I think it's upwards of 1,000. I think literally the limit is 1,000 or something like that. So I'm not sure anyone's going to hit that here, because don't even think Canva's hit that. So I know I was talking before with the hosts, and it seems like a lot of people here are sort of working with a bunch of brands, and it's great to be able to manage all your brand assets across clients, or whether you yourself are working with, maybe you have a few different side hustles that you're working with a few different things. So let's just choose one at random here. So we have Clementini, which is a fictional juice brand that we've put together. And so this is what a brand kit looks like in the back end. So essentially you would upload all these assets yourself or make the selections yourself. So what we've got here is we've got all the Clementini logos pre-filled and ready to go. We've got the brand colors. So there's a primary palette and a secondary palette. These are all, you're able to select whatever your brand colors may be. Fonts as well. Obviously goes without saying, you might have a certain title font, or your body copy might have a different font. So this is all preloaded by you at the time if you're building out your brand kit. And probably the newest part of this, and sort of kind of the coolest as well, is brand voice. So brand voice actually goes beyond visual design to actually edit text itself within your designs. So what happens here is you essentially, and this uses our sort of own version and model of AI built off OpenAI's model. So essentially what happens is you upload your brand guidelines of what you want your brand voice to sound like. So for here, we've got Clementini's brand voice is vibrant, refreshing, and authentic, mirroring the pure and unadulterated nature of our fresh smoothies and pressed juices, which is definitely a mouthful, but it helps guide the AI to sort of keep everything on brand, and not only the internal tools, but also your team. If your team is sort of diving in and needs a refresher on sort of how you want your copy to sound, it's sort of a touch point for them to go back to as well. And we'll have a look at how that works sort of a little bit later on in the session as well. And then, so our juice brand, we've got some mock-ups. So, instead of having to take photos and remove backgrounds or every single time, we've just got them uploaded here, and graphic assets and icons. So I've got this all built out, and this brand kit is accessible in any design in Canva. And we'll have another look at that and how that looks a little bit later on. And it just makes things so much easier. We have these ourselves for things like this presentation that we're doing with you right now, right? We have all of Canva's assets that are easily accessible, and all it takes is you obviously have to build out the content yourself. But in terms of the design, anyone who's done a presentation or put together anything in Canva or any other tool knows how tedious that can be, finding the right assets, finding the right colors, and brand voice really takes a lot of that strain out of it for individuals and for teams as well. And one other cool thing with brand kits is you can actually build brand templates. So imagine you're an entrepreneur and you're sort of doing things, sort of running around like a chook with its head cut off, and you're creating pitch decks all the time, maybe. So we've got one here for Clementini, and instead of having to build one from scratch every time, you can actually build out your own custom-made brand template that you can then quickly jump in and just edit for each different instance that you're going to sort of need to use it. So you don't have to start from the blank page every time. And this is great for presentations and any type of document, but it's really, really fantastic for like our social teams, right? Anyone who works in social and marketing will know how time consuming it can be to create an Instagram post or try and put together your content for the month. And rather than having to start from scratch, we have, something like this where you've got this template set up and you can just quickly change the colors, add in a new product, add a couple nice pictures of strawberries, which look very in season, and you're good to go. And it takes 5 minutes rather than taking a couple of hours. So that is kind of brand kits in a nutshell. I think the other great thing to point out for people who might be working with a bunch of different brands or might be working with clients and have sort of a bunch of client brands uploaded in here is that as an admin, you actually have control of brand kits as well. So you can actually say, well, I only want my clients to be able to use these certain colors. So you can definitely 100% make sure that they're staying on brand and not sort of straying or not, choosing the wrong shade of blue, which is something that's really important at a big company like Canva, but it's also equally important at, smaller companies because branding is really important and it makes little things make a big difference. But yeah, so that is sort of a quick overview of brand kits.
Awesome. And I think I mean they're so useful, obviously. Like you just want to make sure everything's consistent out there. And that's how you want to present, to your external audience. But next, maybe let's also discuss tools for internal communication for your organization as well.
Yes, beautiful. So I want to cover a couple of things. We're going to cover docs, decks, and a couple of other methods to enhance your communications without spending too much extra time.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth pointing out that the updates can all be used externally that we're going to show you, but for now we're going to concentrate on internal comms for this demo.
Beautiful. So one of the big new releases is another kit. It's Canva Work Kits. So these are designed to empower every part of the workplace with best-in-class templates, resources, and app integrations. It's a little bit of a funny one, so it might be best if I just show you, which is handy because I'm just going to slide back over to this browser window and I'll show you what Work Kits are. So this is the Work Kits homepage, and I think Michaela's going to chuck the link in the chat so you can have a look if you wish along with me. So work kits essentially collect essential resources and templates for specific functions within a business. So you'll see here what we have is marketing, sales, human resources, creative. We have a couple for education as well. And what this does, as you scroll through the page, you can see, it's broken up by the types of things that you would be doing every day in your business. And, talking with the hosts at the start of this session, it was sort of, seems like a lot of people are solopreneurs and small agencies that are working with, wearing a lot of hats, right? And this is essentially why we've built these work kits out, because a lot of our customers are those kinds of SMBs or really small businesses. And, you don't have time you might not have time to do a whole human resources course or, marketing course or whatever, or sales really. So whatever sort of function you're working in, you have to be able to dip in and out. And I think this is why WorkKits is really great, is because it all collects it all in one page, and it really just empowers you to be able to dip in and go, right, what do I need in this instance, and quickly apply it to what you need to do. So our internal comms stuff is in the human resources section. So if we look here, we'll see we've got presentations for like a company culture presentation or a recruitment post for a Facebook video. So you can just quickly grab that, apply your branding, and you're off to the races. Internal communications, which is obviously a big element for the IABC, right? So we've got things like an internal team announcement doc, a company newsletter, a town hall presentation, and anyone's free to jump in here, grab the templates and customize it to your will. So these are all free. You don't have to pay for any of these extra resources. And a lot of it is either used by us internally at Canva. So it's not just a pretty face. It's actually the kind of stuff we use day in, day out. And it's designed by our team of expert designers. So you sort of rest assured that, it's not just fluff. It's actually sort of something that you can be put to good use. And we've got some upskilling things. So, maybe a goal tracker or a leadership training. There's a bunch of things here. You can go through at your own time. And you can there's no limit to how sort of deep the rabbit hole goes. One thing I do want to shout out to as well is on these pages, you'll see apps and integrations that are relevant to the specific function. So for HR and internal communications, a couple of the ones that I think great and what we rely on a lot is like our Slack integration. So for example, let's say you're working on a design and you need to get an approval, and we're often split between email and Slack and Canva, and what you can do is sometimes it can be hard to keep track. Even at Canva, we struggle with this as well. It can be hard to keep track of where everything is in the process and who needs to know what and who needs to sign off on what. And with the Slack integration, you can just have that automated. So your approvals get sent straight to Slack, and you can sort of tick sort of approval right within Slack. And those kind of little integrations really speed up the kind of your everyday workflows. And there's things like Monday.com and Asana, which are project management tools, which have a very similar thing where you can attach your Canva designs to your project management tools, and it just sort of speeds up that process of task management a little bit. But there's other apps here as well. One of my favorites, which I actually want to point out, is the AI presenter tool. So I'm not sure, but a lot of the time you might be doing presentations, but doing live presentations is one thing, stuttering and umming and ahhing like I've been doing for the last 20 minutes, hopefully not too badly. But what you can actually do with this app, DID AI Presenters, is you can write a script and then have an AI presenter speak through it. So maybe you don't want your beautiful face on camera, or maybe you just want to get something done quickly. You might already have a doc that you just want to someone to read through and have sort of AI do that. That's a really cool one. So the apps are a combination of, connections to other tools, but also internal apps to AI that help sort of power up Canva. And one other thing that I want to point out in the work kits is the resources. So you can actually dive in, and we've got articles explaining, going further into how to use Canva for internal communications, how to make training videos in Canva. There's a whole range, and we're constantly adding to them literally every day. And you can sort of just dive deep in these and get a lot of hands-on knowledge just by reading through these. And they're all sort of tutorials built by members of the team that, are actually doing these things. And we've got webinars like this one, which you can watch back. And you can also look at case studies where you can see how other businesses use Canva, which is, I find I learn the best that way, by looking at how it's actually applied. But yeah, that pretty much covers work kits, and you can just sort of spend all day in here having a look around. And the great thing is that we're constantly adding these as well based on sort of what types of people are using Canva. So yeah, it's sort of constantly evolving.
Thanks, Jack. So that's work kits. How about we look at some doc updates? Now, docs have been out for about a year now with Canva, and they've made such a big impact because they incorporate AI as well as streamlining your design and work experience. They simply allow you to, drag and drop images. You can have charts, tables, videos, even designs. So Jack, maybe do you want to show us some doc demo stuff?
You know what, Michaela? Funnily enough, I do want to show you some docs. Fancy that. So let's go to another demo. Cool. So we're in our work kits HR sort of center, and let's just choose one at random here. So here we've got a doc. Now this is Manager Training Essentials. Now, one thing I want to call out here is that any template in Canva, so we obviously create templates ourselves internally at Canva, the Canva Creative Studio, but there's also other users that create templates. And what you can actually do, you'll see sort of related templates at the bottom of any that you open, which is a great way to get other inspiration, because you might open one thing and then decide that you like something a little bit better. But for now, we'll stick with this. What you can actually do is follow. So that way, if you follow, you'll get a notification anytime Canva creates a new template. So if you find that you're loving what Canva's creating or what another creator is creating, then that's an easy way to get access there. So that's a little tip that I like to use. But so we'll jump in, we'll customize this template. Now, to be honest, I didn't know about Canva Docs until I started working here. So it wasn't something I used every day in, day out. And the first thing that I noticed, being a Google Docs user, like most people, is Canva's visual approach to Docs, right? And I think that's the big thing, is that it's sort of the Canva way of approaching Docs. It's not just a boring document of a Google Doc or a Word doc. It's bringing the bright colors and the beautiful design that everyone knows Canva for, but bringing it into a doc. And it's really easy to do, like most things in Canva. It might sound biased, but I find it that way anyway. So, like something like this heading, right? It's only a small little. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but it sort of adds a big element to the doc, especially internally. These kind of things matter, especially with your brand. So, if you actually double click on this, you'll see that it opens up a brand new design, and so you can edit it yourself. Now, let's just say we'll have our brand kit here, and we'll dive into this in a little bit as well. But what we can do is just quickly grab our color palette and just go, cool, we can change this. And let's just say we wanted to change that to Manager Training Essentials 101. So we have this really engaging headline at the top of the doc, and I think it makes a big difference to morale, just having something that's, as visually engaging as that. But cool. Another thing that I wanted to sort of show you guys, and one thing that we've been building out with docs and throughout Canva as an entire product is Magic Write, which is essentially our, like we were talking about earlier, our own take on the open AI sort of chat GPT AI models. And essentially we've got all this proprietary tech that we build on top of that, and to make sure that it works right and is easy to use for everyone in Canva. So I want to show you a couple of the things that it can do. So let's just say that this agenda, it's fine, but we don't really want a bullet point. We prefer sort of a paragraph summary. So what we can do is highlight the text. We can jump up here to Magic Write, which you'll see in the toolbar here. And there's a few options by default. So you can just say rewrite. You want it to be more fun, more formal, which is always nice when you're presenting to some higher up than you want to sound like you know what you're talking about, which I use all the time. Sprinkle fairy dust, which just gives it a little pizzazz. And you can actually apply brand voice, which we'll get to in a second. But for now, I'm just going to say, turn these bullet points into a 1 paragraph summary, and we'll generate that. Cool. So instead of having it sort of takes what was the context of the document. So it's not just reading the text, it's taking the entire context of the document, and let's just go replace. So now we have a longer paragraph that effectively summarizes the entire document and also just gives the agenda of what people might expect as they read this really long document. Cool. But one thing you'll notice is that it's a little bit wordy. It doesn't feel, Michaela, it doesn't feel right, does it?
Yeah. Do you want to try and kind of lighten up the tone of voice a little bit?
I would love to. I would absolutely love to, Michaela. I'm so glad you asked.
So
what we're going to do is we'll jump in and we'll apply the brand voice. Now, this takes into consideration what we were talking about earlier about Clementini's brand voice. So let's see what it comes up with. Now, I'm sure you saw that was very sort of jargon heavy, the initial one. Now, let's add it below and we can actually compare the two. And we can see the difference. I actually like this. So let's say you have the top one opens. Investing in management training is essential for an organization's success as it equips leaders with the necessary skills to guide their teams effectively. Nothing wrong with it, but, a little bit generic. Now, let's see the one with the brand voice. Imagine your company as a juice blend. Each employee brings a unique flavor, adding to the overall taste. But who's the blender? Your managers. And just like a blender, they need to be top-notch to deliver the best results. Enter management training. Now, you might like it, you might hate it, but you can't deny that they've definitely applied the brand voice that we've spoken about and showed earlier, which is vibrant, refreshing, and authentic, and talks about the juice. It definitely mentions juice. So let's just erase this one here, and now we have our brand voice as well. And yeah, so the great thing about AI is that it can really do whatever you want it to do. So within reason, obviously, and we actually have some guardrails just to help everyone get the most out of it. So let's say, cool, that's an agenda. And we can also just turn it back. We can turn this agenda into bullet points. Now let's just say numbered bullet points. So you're able to change the format of text. You're able to, summarize text. You're able to create completely new things without sort of at the click of a button. There you go. So
it's a little long though. What can we? I'm being really picky.
it is a little long. Let's cut it down. Let's just say, then we cut this down to 3 main points.
I'm lazy, otherwise I would read it.
Reader. There we go. Beautiful. Now, awesome. Now, what we can also do is a couple other things I want to show you. I think right now we have. Oh, sorry. Was there a question? No,
Might just
just feedback from somewhere. That's okay. Cool.
Just
So a couple other quick things I want to show you is page breaks. So I think this is great because by default, Canva docs and like most docs are just one big flowing document. But it can be really helpful to break up information. You know, we know that that's sort of a design principle across any kind of design. Breaking up information into bite-sized chunks, having a lot of white space is really helpful. So you can actually now add page breaks in Canva docs as well. So what I've done is typed a slash down here. That's called a slash command. And that opens up a little menu with a bunch of options. And if you search in here, I'm going to search page break. There we go. So now we have that page all on its own. And you can add as many as you need. So I might add one down here as well. And that just makes it a little bit easier to guide through. Now, also you could choose to print this out, and this would mean that it prints out on a different page per sort of per break that you add. But at least digitally, it makes it a little bit easier to scroll through, and I find it's a little bit easier on the eyes, especially for long onboarding or internal communication docs. They can get a little bit wordy, and that's why it's also great to have these sort of images that break up, and why it's so easy to add these designs with Canva. Now, one last thing I want to show about docs, which is something that we rely on all the time at Canva, seeing where literally we don't really use other tools to get our work done. We do all our writing in Canva docs. We do all of our presentations in presentations. We use whiteboards where you would shudder if you saw the amount of files that are flying around in Canva. There's decks on deck. It's like Inception. If anyone's seen Inception, it's just decks. It's crazy.
We love the deck.
But one thing that makes it a little bit easier is suggestions and commenting. Now, you might be familiar with this from other word processors, but the way Canva does it is a little bit different. So what we can do is if we jump up here to this corner, we'll see we can turn on suggesting. Now, we're in suggestion mode, and it says up top suggestion mode enabled, but you can see up the top what kind of mode you're in. So this agenda is good. It definitely summarizes it, but the first sentence is visualize the company as a juice blend. I mean, that might be a little bit ephemeral for our sort of employees. That doesn't really, what's that? I'm not sure if that connects. So what we can do is I'm suggesting that we delete that. And up here, you'll see Jack has suggested delete that. Now I can also tag. Now, this is depending on whether you're working with a team or informally, but I'll give you a little tip if you're just working by yourself as well. I can tag Michaela and just say, not sure about this. Let's work on it. And she'll get a notification herself. So yes, suggesting is added, but also collaborating with other people. And one little trick as well, if you're working on your own Canva docs, and let's say you're going back to something all the time and you just, maybe it's a long presentation that has taken you a couple of days to put together. One thing that I love doing, and Michaela as well, we do it all the time, is that you can tag yourself, whether you're working with a team or not, doesn't matter. You can tag yourself. So you might not remember the changes that you want to make one day from the next. So I do this all the time. I'll tag myself and be like, take another look at this agenda tomorrow or something like that. Assign to yourself, and you'll get an email straight to your whatever email's linked to your Canva account. And it's just and then it'll be up in this right-hand side as well. And you can tick it off once you've done it. So you can kind of keep track of your own work within Canva docs. So that's a little tip that I like to use. And yeah, that's some of the new changes in Canva docs.
Jack, parlez-vous
Yes.
français?
No, not at all.
That's totally fine. What if we want to change it to another language?
Oh yeah, good idea. So, well, I think we'll cover that in presentations. Do we cover it?
Yeah, we
Let me
can cover
see.
it in presentations. Do you want to jump to
Yeah,
that?
we'll cover it in presentations. Yeah, let's jump to presentations.
What's changed in presentations?
Yeah, cool. So presentations, unlike docs, have been around for a little while, and they've already been pretty amazing, but a few things have been added that make it even easier to build, present, and share, which I'll go over now. But Michaela, the first thing is layouts and styles.
Okay, let's do layouts and styles. That's okay. I'm just answering a couple of questions in the chat, but I can see there's quite a few, so we might actually spend time in the intermission answering those all properly, if that's all okay. Yeah, I'm getting distracted a little, so okay, so layouts and styles. So we've got a really great range of kind of different formats and things. It's a super quick way to make your presentations really visually engaging and consistent. I think it's one of my favorite things to use in Canva. Just, it's such a quick way to make something look awesome when you've got no time. As we said, we live in Deckland. So yeah, we really appreciate this one. Jack, we want to show a few different options so people know what I'm talking about.
Let's do it. Now let's go back to our work kits, which is it's just great because it's got so much stuff going on. So we're going to choose a company culture presentation. Let's just choose this one. Now by default, it looks really great, right? It's all put together by the Canva Creative Studio, our in-house designers, and it's chock-a-block with awesome decks and slides that you can sort of use as inspiration and chop and change to build out your own decks. But you don't want to just use the default deck. You want to be able to make it your own. And that's where brand kit, styles, and layouts come in. So first, let's just have a look at brand kit. So we go over here to our brand tab, and you'll see that this is what it looks like, the brand kit that we were looking at before. This is what it looks like when you're in the designer or in the editor. So you have access to your logos, your colors, your secondary palette. So let's just go to our sort of front page here, and let's just say we want to add our palette. Now, you can do it to just an individual slide, or you can apply it to all pages. So let's just say we want to apply it to all pages. As you can see, the little wave down the bottom, and now all of our slides are beautifully branded to our Clementini brand. Now, obviously, there's a whole bunch of things we can do to that, but let's just choose this slide, for example. So we might want to, so this is a lot of our templates will have like a placeholder where you can you might want to add your logos or graphics or icons. So let's just show what it looks like. And this is what we do all the time at Canva. So let's just add our little Clementini logo in here. Beautiful. And we might even add one of these preset little graphics we have just to add a little bit of life to our presentation. Now, that's kind of, well, let's just say, again, this doesn't really suit our brand voice. So what we can do is magic right, and we can change voice, apply our brand voice. Beautiful. Now that aligns with that brand voice we spoke to earlier. Now it's looking much more branded to our Clementini brand. But, and this is where layouts come in as well. So let's just say, obviously we've built out this template and it's fantastic, but when you're building out a deck, you want to have options. And so if we jump up to the design tab up here and go to layouts, what happens here is actually our AI will build out different versions of layouts of what this could look like essentially. And it can be a inspiration for you, or it can be something that you sort of take. So it gives you almost unlimited sort of variance of what this page could look like. So, it's not too bad as it is, but let's say, I think actually this one here looks pretty nice. And there we go. We have a new layout. Now, obviously that Clementini doesn't really work there. So we might just add that up to the corner there and minimize the text a little bit. There we go. Beautiful. So layouts is great for, we've got 20 or so pages of a template here, but you might have a deck that's longer than that, or you just might need something just to change it up a little bit. And layouts is awesome, and it uses our internal AI to sort of, give you some different options there. Now it's easy if you have brand kit, but what if you don't have a brand kit? What if you're just an individual and you're just working and trying to put something together for yourself? Well, luckily we have styles. Now styles are color palettes and color combinations and font sets that our designers have put together to make it easier for non-designers and busy people who don't have time to worry about what shade of brown to use in their presentation. make it easier for everyone to just to get the job done, essentially. So let's just pretend we're not associated with a brand. We can get rid of this, and we can easily jump in and adjust the colors. Now, the cool thing here, you'll see there's a palette. As you click through it, it'll put you can shuffle through essentially what the primary color will be. So it gives you, a whole bunch of options within that individual palette. And this is something that will definitely save a bunch of time for everyone. And it's a favorite of mine for sure. But yeah, that's sort of some of the big things that have changed in presentations.
Nice one. Thanks, Jack. I think it's also worth showing maybe Magic Switch, since we've been talking about docs and presentations. Obviously, most things I've been working on need both. So yeah, I think you've shown them that, but maybe let's show like how that might switch from like a presentation into a doc or back.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, let's do it. So let me just jump back into my slide. So I'll try and rush through this because, well, not rush through it, but I know we're sort of pressed for time a little bit. But so, all right, let's just say, so Magic Switch is great. We use it all the time. Let's just choose something like this. So we've got another deck, another slide here. And so if we go up here, we'll see resize. Now this essentially allows you to resize any design in Canva into any other kind of design in Canva that you want. But one of the great use cases is transforming a presentation into a doc. So maybe you want a summary of a presentation that, maybe you've done a presentation like this one, and you just want a summary that you can share with your audience or share with the team who weren't able to attend on that day, or share a summary with the founder of your company just to give them, the latest updates on what you've been working on. Magic Switch makes it really easy. So what you can do is go up to resize, go into transform into a doc. Now you can give further instructions because this is using our AI as well. I'm just going to do a summary and I'm going to go transform into a doc. Now, this is a larger design, so it can take a while. But yeah, I can say that, Michaela, like we use this all the time at Canva, day in, day out to resize all kinds of things. Cool. So let's wait a little longer. I probably should have chosen a smaller presentation template. Sorry about that. It's usually quite fast. But these are the way these things go. This is live TV. This is what happens.
It's exciting. I can't wait to see what happens next.
Me too. Hopefully it does too. Here we go. All
yeah,
right, great.
Yeah, it's so handy to like even just making different size like social things. Like I know our social team uses it all the time. So, obviously like TikTok has a slightly different dimension spec versus like Instagram. So being able to swap something so quickly into like a multi-channel campaign essentially is like just saves you so much time when you're trying to get, lots of social content out there. But, you don't have so much time. And there's always, just the dimensions that are like just slightly off. So this just kind of saves you all that time. Oh, hey, it's done it.
Yeah, it's here. There you go. So as you can see, what we've got is a beautiful one-page summary of everything that was in that doc. And now this, sometimes it absolutely nails it. You don't have to do anything. But even if it gets you 80% of the way there, it saves you so much time. And it's just a really great way to expand the abilities of, if you have really small amount of resources. That's something you're probably not going to be able to do on a day in, day out basis. But if it takes 5 minutes to do that and you just sort of double check everything and send it off, it's a game changer especially for small businesses. And one more thing I really want to show you here as well is the ability to use Magic Switch to actually translate. So there is an Afrikaans option. Now, I'm too scared to use that. So what I'm actually going to do, one thing I do know works really well is the Spanish option. Now, with the Spanish one, and obviously sort of the more mainstream language, let's just say, I'm not sure what the correct term for that would be, but Spanish, French, that kind of thing. You've got options for tone of voice as well. But all you can do, we use this all the time for our localization team. Obviously, Canva is a global company, and we use this all the time. I would say that I don't speak Spanish. I sort of, Michaela has me covered with the languages, but it's always best to check with someone who speaks the language that you're translating to. I wouldn't send something, with no checks at all. But again, it gets you a lot closer than you ordinarily would be, and it definitely opens up different channels. And even for something like a social post, like Michaela was talking about, for small bits of copy like that, it's pretty foolproof, and it does a really great job from our experiences. And yeah, that's some of the magic that you can do with Magic Switch.
That's awesome. That's got to be, I think, yeah, one of my favorites for sure. Thank you, Jack. What about, we're talking about presentations and meetings, but you can't always get everyone in the room together. Or you kind of, you might get a bit nervous and you want to kind of, sort it out before the actual big day. What are we thinking? I think let's maybe, if we have time, dive into talking presentations quickly. If we could show like a quick demo about this. So let me
Yes.
explain. It's like previously, if you couldn't get everyone, you just send, a deck or a doc, and you hope everyone kind of could catch up afterwards, but no one's really ever gonna, probably read all those things. So if you can show something really engaging, maybe after the fact or before the fact even, that might really help keep things moving.
Yeah, 100%. I think this is something that comes up in sort of two big use cases: is people who don't have the confidence to sort of do a completely live talk through, or, like Michaela said, you can't organize it. Or one thing we happens a lot at Canva is someone might go away on leave, and they do a sort of pre-recorded sort of presentation for something that they're not going to be here for, or just to give sort of an overview of the work that needs to be done while they're gone. So from a presentation, if you click present, and you hit present and record. Now, I'm not going to hit it, obviously, because I'm actually presenting to you guys right now, but you'll see this little face pops up here. And what you can do is actually go through, record at your own speed, at your own pace. It's really easy to edit, and you can sort of take a deep breath before every sort of sentence that you're taking. Take your time. And let me tell you, it looks a lot more polished than you sort of give yourself credit for just going through sort of ad hoc. So really highly recommend investing some time in having a look at that, because it really does speed up workflows and just makes it a little bit easier. No one really likes public speaking for the most part. So that's one that's a really great one especially for teams.
That's a lie. Jack loves public speaking, you can tell.
Love it.
Okay, awesome. Now I might quickly just jump to talking about apps really quickly. So we've got, I really recommend checking out our app marketplace. It's growing at such a fast rate, which is awesome because it's got a huge array of things that'll just make your workday easier. So I think we mentioned you can integrate with, things like Asana or Monday.com for project management. But you can also set up, social media apps like LinkedIn to streamline your social posting, all those kind of cool things. And yeah, it's all integrated in Canva. So you can just get everything done in the one place. I'll pop a link in the chat so you can check that out too. Here we go. Yeah, one of the apps we really like is Bulk Create. So definitely check that one out. It kind of works on, business cards, but equally well on social media assets, invitations, certificates. It's pretty much kind of wherever names, photos, dates, and numbers all need to change across, a bulk amount of assets. But the rest of the design needs to stay the same. So you don't want to have to be going to like every single piece of work you have changing one number. You can just like automatically do it, which is super, super handy.
Beautiful. We've already covered a lot. I hope everyone has sort of already taken a few things away from what we've got. I know we're sort of pressed for time, but we might just take a couple of questions. I don't know, Michaela, you've been in the chat. Is there anything that's stuck out before we move on to the final sort of little portion?
Yeah, I'm doing my best. There's been some really great questions in here, and I definitely want to get back to some of them after we chat to some of our pro designers. UK spelling, I don't think we have the check in there at the moment, unfortunately, but it does generally pick up if you are trying to write in UK. And I think that is a feature that's being looked at the moment. So I think for a few of these, same for Canva allowing a download to Word document. You can just keep an eye on the Canva updates because there is potential for some of those things to be launched. Obviously, we've got our Droptober announcement kind of icons up in our background, so we're always getting new updates. So you never know what might pop up in the next one. But yeah, otherwise, send feedback in because our devs are always looking to improve the product. So if there's something that's like really bugging you, do let them know. And yeah,
You,
we'll sure to pass on the feedback from these questions too. No, all
sorry
good,
to
Jack.
interrupt, Michaela, lovely Michaela, but things do move fast, and we actually do have the ability, IABC Secretariat, to download as Word documents.
So good.
So, yeah. So I won't do a full tutorial now, but if you just jump into
Hello.
File and press Download on when you're using a document type, you'll be able to choose what file type you want to download, and you can choose from PDF or Word document. So there you go.
I'm
And that's
looking now
only
too.
you.
That's
So
awesome.
beautiful.
Thank you. That's awesome. AABC Satuna. Wow. We love
We
the
got you.
enthusiasm. We got you. And Jack has it. Thank you so much. Okay. Any other questions? Where we get the pictures. Yeah, you can get, there are thousands, millions of elements. They're always being added to. There's the free ones. There's also really premium ones with Canva Pro. So yeah, you can get a bunch of images. And then also with our AI tools, if you can't find an image, type it in and AI will help you kind of create it from scratch, just from your imagination, which is really cool.
Which is a great segue.
Which is a really good segue. So I might share
Yeah,
my
while you
screen.
get set up, I might have a look back and see if there's anything I missed. Is there a grid function? Yes, there is, Marley. So that's another thing that you can access from the file, from your settings. And yeah, I can send a detailed link on how to do that. But essentially, you can choose to toggle on a grid option, so you always see like a purple grid over your designs. Really helpful. But it's something that's hidden away in settings.
Okay, awesome. Can we see photo and video editing updates?
Yep,
Good. Okay. And again, just let me know if my internet freezes at a terrible time. I mean, it'll all be a terrible time, but it'll be fine.
probably will.
Let's do
Yep.
it. Okay, so there are a few updates in image and audio that we thought you should see. So I'll take you through some demos now to wrap up the session. What I'm going to take you through things we're really excited about, and most of them involve AI. So let's dive into it. We've got image upscaler. So this is really awesome. It allows you, as it says, to upscale blurry images to to make it kind of, ready to share. It's such a lifesaver. Like if you think about, we've had, events like Canva Create where you've got, a row of speakers that are going to be on stage and they've emailed you in a bunch of different photos and half of them are really low res, but you want to put them up in your marketing on your website to let people know that they're going to be speaking. But it's so much back and forth asking for a better photo, or perhaps like, you did a video shoot, you snapped some quick photos of behind the scenes, but it ended up being like a little bit blurry or not quite what you wanted. So yeah, this tool is such a lifesaver for that. You don't have to go back and take a whole new photo. You can just, perfect the one you have. And that's all with AI. Okay, next we have video highlights. This is again powered by AI. It's a really smart video editing kind of tool that essentially trims and helps you really just find the most important parts of your footage. So if you've got some like long footage and you just want to kind of like break it up and use it for some really engaging social posts, this is perfect for that. We've got enhanced voice, which is also super cool. And quite a handy one, depending on, where you're, if you're wanting to record a video or a quick voice note or something, but you're in a busy space or you've got loud air conditioning, a noisy pet or a baby, Jack, you can create high quality,
Can confirm.
compelling videos. You're welcome. And yeah, it pretty much uses AI to strip back that background noise so that the main audio is way clearer than it was before. And it does that like instantly. So also very cool. And yeah, just in general, to wrap up, I want to show you a few of the new tools in the photo editor. So that includes magic grab, magic edit, and magic expand. So yeah, maybe Jack can chuck one final link in on AI photo editing so you can have a bit of an explore in your own time too.
I sure can.
Thank you, Jack. But yeah, you can kind of see if you watch this quick video, the editor just kind of, allows you to choose things, grab, drag, AI paints in the background. It's super handy. So yeah. But I want to show you a few things actually in person now so you can get to know all the coolest parts of Magic Studio. I know we're pressed for time, so I will fly through these demos. But we're going to start with my very good friend Julie has sent through a photo. She's our program manager at Canva. But the photo is a little bit blurry, right? So what do you do? You click the image, and you just go up here to edit. And then in apps, you can see we've got image upscaler right here. So you click on that, and it'll come up with an enhanced option, and then you can replace it. You can often choose kind of, how much. Oh, my internet's not gonna let me do it today. That's so annoying. Oh no, here we go. Okay, I'm gonna try again. Does everyone see the 16 times I just clicked? Jack, could you
Yep.
see that? Awesome. Okay, let's do it. So 16 times literally means, you can enhance the image by 16 times, which is, let's just go all out. So you let it upscale for a second. Might take a few moments depending on how blurry the photo is. But yeah, essentially it'll use its magic and you can kind of see a before and after here, which is cool. So if you're happy with that, you click replace. And then in no time, Julie will be looking crystal clear. Yeah, there we go. Oh, it's so much better, right? So yeah, super, super handy. And Julie will be stoked that she doesn't have to go and do an entire new photo shoot. Because I think, yeah, she said her cheeks were hurting by the end of that. She was smiling way too much for the session. Okay, next we've got video highlights. So we've got a video here that was shot at Canva Create, but as you can see, it's pretty long. In fact, it's way too long for a compelling social post. So what we're going to do is click edit and try out video highlights. So it's just in here under Magic Studio. You click on the highlights button. And as you can see, instantly separates all that footage up into the key moments. So, we've got the welcome, we've got an audience announcement, all the way down to the final kind of celebration wrap, which is super cool. So you can drag and drop those sections. You can see that one's 2 seconds, that one's 8 seconds. And then you can just use that for a social post. And it's kind of like the best parts of your video. And also just really helpful to like categorize the moments rather than having to go through and try and remember like what happened when. So again, massive time saver. Okay, next we have our wonderful co-founder, Cam, and he's...
Hands voice is great for removing background noise. That's better.
Could you all hear that?
Yes.
Hopefully.
Doesn't sound great.
It was like a little bit, yeah, it's a bit busy behind him, right? So if you go into edit, you go down here into audio, you can see enhance voice, just click that. And it's pretty instant. So, and then if I play it again.
Hands voice is great for removing background. That's better.
So much better, right?
Much better.
So
Way
yeah, the traffic sounds are like really, really lowered, which is awesome. The bird's a little bit quieter, but I'm glad it's not completely gone. That would be a bit sad. But yeah, you can hear him a lot better. So super useful tool. Background remover, probably a lot of you are already familiar with this one. It's probably like our most popular tool. And so in the glow up, we literally chucked a shortcut into the toolbar here. Yeah, you can just vanish the background straight away.
Easy.
So it's that easy. It's so easy to do. Honestly, it's such a lifesaver if you've got a product and you want to kind of put it into a different context or really make it pop with a graphic background. Or for example, if you know, you've taken a photo of something awesome, but the background's just like way too messy. You just want to kind of change it. And then yeah, you can move that apple like wherever you want. It's really, really cool. This is a similar one. And I'm flying through it, so apologies, but you can always watch the recording back. But yeah, we'll send you a workbook too, so you can try all these for yourself. It's super easy. Magic Grab, again, similar AI. So if you have something where you kind of want to take it out of the background, but you want a seamless finish as well and move it into something else, you can just go into Magic Studio, click Magic Grab, it'll highlight. You can also use the brush to choose like a different spot, but click usually just grabs like exactly what you need straight away. Click yes, and then AI is literally filled in the background, so it's so seamless, and then you can pop it anywhere you want. So really useful. Or if you want to kind of put some text here and you just want to like shift it to the side of your original image even, like it's so nice if you're kind of designing with other elements as well. I think that one's super cool. This one is really good for photo bombing or like anything, obviously, to clean up your photos. So Magic Eraser. Again, you go into edit, you click Magic Eraser, and then you just pretty much brush over, or you can select what you don't want in the photo anymore. Click Erase. And then our photo bombers will vanish. And yeah, and it fits in, like it's pretty great. I probably overpainted that bit, so you can reduce the brush size so you can be a bit more like cleaner. But yeah, it fills it in so there's like beautiful blue skies behind and not a bird in the sky.
This
And
is
then
absolutely fantastic,
oh,
Michaela.
thank you
No,
so
I
much.
think
I think that's
so.
everything. Yeah.
What I'm going to ask you, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. We're over our time, but if I could ask Michaela to perhaps just demonstrate the last point she was on, and then we've got 3 questions to get through. Some people, a few have dropped off, but I see the rest of us are glued to our seats. So, everyone, thank you very much for joining us. It's been fantastic having you. So let's ask Michaela to continue and just demonstrate her last slide. Then also, if you're not a member of the IABC and you have to drop off now, please remember to go onto our profile on LinkedIn, like us. We will post the video link, and we'll also be on Facebook. So find us, like us, join the IABC. And yes, Michaela, let's carry on with your slide for those of us glued to our seats, and then we'll get to the 3 questions, of which I think, Jack, you can start thinking so long of, why would I become a paid member rather than a free subscriber? Okay, Michaela, over to you.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate. Sorry, we've gone over a little bit. This is my final demo, I promise. It's a cool one though. Okay, so we've got this lovely book, but it's looking a little bit bare. So let's go into elements and down to AI image generator. So let's generate our own. And here you can type in, and I've just done this before, but you know, we can do gold leaf, and you can do, you know, different styles as well. So this is images, graphics, and videos. And you can also, if you're not quite sure what to search for, you can click Inspire Me. And so, yeah, you essentially, let's do graphics. So you generate an image and you've got a beautiful gold leaf that you can drag and drop onto oh, my internet's so slow, sorry. But yeah, you can drag and drop beautiful graphics or videos, whatever you want, and decorate. So yeah, it's literally from your imagination, and yeah, it works for videos as well, which is pretty cool. Jack, do you want to wrap up for us just quickly on how everyone can kind of test this out for themselves?
Yes, definitely. So we'll be sending over a workbook after the session. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And you can also come by and see a lot more learning resources where we hang out on Canva Design School. So you can both see free resources and including courses that you can take. So something, for example, like our graphic design essentials course, which actually gives you a certificate that you can upload to your LinkedIn account, and gives you, you know, something firm that you can sort of get at the end of it. And it's great for beginners or seasoned pros. I actually just took it a couple of weeks ago, and it's just a fantastic course that we've put together. So And you can also sort of stay abreast of our events or other resources that we're constantly popping up. And I saw a request for maybe another one of these, so you never know your luck. You might get another one with IABC Africa as well. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I hope that everyone was able to take something away from it, even if we did run over a little bit. There's a lot to cover. We're just trying to get through it all. But
This
yes,
has been
thank you.
Thank you so much, Jack. Okay, so now I run my own little business, and I personally do pay for my Canva subs, but I've now got associates and I've got other team members. Would you advise me to rather get the paid for teams? What does it entail? What's the difference between going on the free version versus the paid for version?
Yes. So, I think that the big thing is what you might have noticed throughout as we were going through the tutorials is a couple of crown icons that pop up around the Canva UI. Now that is our little symbol for things that are restricted to paid subscribers. Now, I'm sure you can attest that the free version of Canva is actually very generous with what it provides.
Good.
And it allows you to plug a lot of gaps without having to pay a cent. But if you're using Canva for your business and you're in it day to day and you are creating a lot of designs, you'll soon feel like you need maybe a larger library of templates or images or elements. I saw people asking for video elements and the ability to create custom templates or things like our brand kits, which are actually restricted to our premium subscribers. So what it really comes down to is expanding the range of elements that you have access to, and also things like increased storage so you can save more designs. So if you're working with a lot of designs, if you're working with a lot of clients, that's something that's going to be really important to you. And then those things like we spoke about in terms of like collaboration, so going through documents and adding comments and suggestions and all that kind of stuff, that's something that is restricted to Canva Pro subscribers, and our brand kits are as well. And one other thing that you'll find, which is a pretty big one, which I saw some sort of positive reactions from, is our magic features. So our AI features, a lot of those, you get a really minuscule amount of access with the free tier. And if you want to sort of do anything more than just sort of have a little bit of a play around, you'll have to explore Canva Pro for that. But yeah, if you
Sorry, quick question from the floor. If you're on Canva Pro and you want to switch to a Teams one, what is the limit on team members for team subs?
Oh, that's a good question. I believe it starts at 3. I don't think there's an upward limit, but I believe that it starts at a minimum of 3. I can confirm that for you guys, but I'm pretty sure that's off the top of my head.
Then another question, do you have a shortcut list for quick shortcuts for Canva?
That is a great question. Let me have a quick look.
I think there is one. Yeah, that's such a good question. We can add that to the workbook.
There we go. I found it.
Oh, nice one. Thanks, Jack.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's a bunch of great ones. So
yeah, really quick.
I'll give you a little tip for the 31 participants still in here. One that we use all the time is if you press R, if you're in a design, you press R, it brings in a rectangle. You press C, it brings in a circle. There's a fun little tip for you. And I think if you press T as well, it'll just open up a new text box. So there are 3 that seem really simple, but we use them all the time. So there's definitely a lot in there, though. There's a lot of sort of goes a lot deeper.
Excellent. And then Christine says, you have an amazing video that plays before your Zoom meetings. How do we build and use that? Is there a quick response to that one?
Oh, yeah. So I think I put some tips in, or maybe I didn't finish writing it. There's a bunch of different kind of free video elements that you can add in. So you can even build that into your actual presentation like deck. You don't even have to do it separately. So you could have, music, and if you click on elements, then you can create all sorts of things. There's free stock music. If you can't find the video you want, you can make it with AI. So heaps of options there. And you literally just have it as like the first deck of your the first slide on your presentation. And then it's like,
That
it's
is
good to
so
go.
cool. You just make me so happy. Everything I wanted
Oh.
to know.
Alphabet, sorry. I
yes,
am
Christine.
specifically talking about, so before I had a meeting with you guys and I waited to be let in, there was a Canva video play. That is what
Placeholder. Yeah.
I'm referring to.
Oh, yes, sure. So that, I mean, it was made with Canva, but that's actually a Zoom feature. So I think it's something that you just have to, I'm not sure what the pricing tier is, but it's something that you can add in Zoom itself. But the video was made internally, but that feature specifically is a Zoom one.
Okay. Michaela, any parting words from you before we move on?
Oh, it's just been such a pleasure to chat with everyone. Yeah, it's just been so great seeing all the comments, and yeah, my mind has been expanded. That makes me so happy to hear. Yeah, there's just so many tools, like we're still learning things in Canva every day. So I think yeah, the best thing is to just like dive in and just mess around, have a play, and like, it's design is, obviously accessible to everyone. That's the whole point of Canva. So we just want, you to get in there and make cool work and just have fun with it. Yeah, it doesn't matter, too much about being too serious. Just have a good time and use it however you want, really. There's a million different uses, and yeah, Jack will we've got the workbook so you can practice, and yeah, if there's anything else we can email and you can get back to us, and we can reach out and answer any more questions.
Brilliant. Thank you, Michaela. Jack, from your side?
Well, Michaela isn't just a pretty face, she said it all, really. Thank you all for joining us. And yeah, I would really encourage you guys and women to check out the Canva Design School, which we've put in the chat. It's completely free. It's a great way to upskill, whether you're looking to upskill as in design or in your business. And we're constantly adding new courses, and you get the lovely certificate at the end that you get to display on your LinkedIn, which is always a nice touch. So I highly recommend checking that out. And yeah, exploring the work kits is probably going to be a big one for everyone here. So yeah, thanks for your time, everyone. And don't be strangers, and be sure to reach out to us, and we're more than happy to help in any way we can.
Thank you so much, Jack and Michaela, for sharing your expertise with us today. And thank you to everyone who joined us today for attending the webinar. I really hope you found it valuable. I certainly have learned so much today. I think this is going to give me new wind beneath my wings. And then quick, before we close, just about the IABC, it is the road to excellence in communication. And if you're not a member yet, please don't hesitate. Reach out to us to learn a little bit more about global certification, membership, and opportunities to have your work peer reviewed by communication professionals worldwide. Thank you for joining us today, and have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.